I might leave that door open actually this evening for a bit of through draft. Okay, and then have your block. Are we ready, everyone? Have your block nearby, so your block's there for when you need to put your head on it. But we're not yet, okay? And if you're at home and you don't have a block, a cushion will do. No, a 1 inch or a 2 inch block is fine. Nothing more than a 2 inch block. Okay, so down on your back and arms by your sides. And I'd just like you to feel the back of your pelvis properly land on the ground. And at the moment where it's landed, think of that as being the central point of your pelvis. And I'd like you now to try and draw big circles round as you circulate, if that's such a thing, your pelvis around on the floor. So now like you're trying to draw a big circle on the back of your pelvis through its contact on the floor. Your legs will wave slightly, that's fine. Obviously your pelvis is moving and your hips are moving and your lower back is moving. So all of this space is getting a little mobilized. Then we change direction, keeping your legs bent, Ali, feet flat on the floor. There we go, yep. Do a couple more in this direction, being aware of the center so that you know where you want to land again. So start to make them smaller and smaller, like you're spiraling in, and then land in the center of your pelvis and your legs steady. Now we're just going to tilt the pelvis away and towards you. So as you tilt your pelvis away from you, it's like your sit bones are dropping towards your heels. And then as you tilt the pelvis towards you, your sit bones feel like they're pointing more up toward the back of your knees. Again, sit bones drop towards your heels and sit bones curl up so your lower back presses flatter to the floor. Then just continue to tilt the pelvis back and forwards. This time, in your peripheral view, if you can see your knees, try and steady your knees a bit more. So they might be moving slightly, but minimize how much they wave, especially side to side. Keep your feet steady, keep your legs steady. Now, as you start to lift your bottom off the floor, pressing your lower back down, press a little more firmly into your feet each time, and each time you tilt up, start to lift a little bit more of your bottom and then your lower back off the ground. So think of maybe lifting an extra couple of vertebrae each time you tilt and lift. So there's a progressive rolling up the spine beginning. And you feel how your sit bones creep further and further up towards the hamstrings, or point more and more toward the back of your knees the further up your spine you get. So we should be getting now to around about the mid-chest area. If you can stop the bridges, keep them moving, but stop increasing their height when you reach the baseline of your shoulder blades. So we're trying not to roll the shoulder blades off the floor. Just moving them mindfully so that as you roll up and as you roll down, you're being aware of any little S shapes in your spine, and that's where you might not be able to control a wobble in your pelvis or a wobble in your knees. But just become aware of it, maybe do one or two more. Just like to breathe wherever you can breathe, wherever it's comfortable for your breath. Good, and then this one that you come up to, stay up at the top. So next time you reach the top, stay up at the top. Great, and feel there's a nice firm stance down through your knees, through your shins, down into the center of your heel. Okay, now float your right arm over behind. Keep your right arm reaching long behind as you roll your spine back down, like your spine and your right arm are pulling in opposite directions. Your knees are staying steady. Inhale as you land. Exhale, roll up. Inhale at the top, your thigh bones and your arm reaching in opposite directions. Exhale, roll down. Keeping the right arm there, and we're doing 2 more. Inhaling as you land. Exhaling as you roll up. It's watching the movement of your spine internally. Exhale as you roll down. Inhale as you land. Exhale as you roll up. Inhale, feel the thigh bones move away, the arm reaching back, and exhale, roll down and stay down. Stay on the floor, and then bring your arm all the way back down by your side. Reset the shoulders if they feel slightly uneven. Inhale, and exhale, scoot the tailbone, scoot the sit bones up and roll up. Stay at the top, and then float your left arm over behind. Don't worry if it doesn't reach the ground fully. Keep the arm reaching along behind and roll your spine down, seeing if you can keep a nice long, even line through your spine. Your arm stays behind as you roll. Inhale as you land. And exhale, roll up, picking up through the sit bones, feeling the sit bones like they're pointing to the back of your knees. Inhale at the top, then exhale, roll down. We'll do a couple more. So you're feeling, even though we're not stopping the movement, you're feeling each lift from each vertebra in a smooth, continuous flow. Inhaling at the top, exhaling as you roll down. One more full one with the left arm reaching in the opposite direction to your tailbone, thighs, and your knees. When you get to the ground this time, stay at the ground, and then bring your arm down by your side. Okay, take your right, I'd like you to actually, first of all, just to bring your hands across your lower ribs. Yeah, and then find the center of your pelvis. So you're neither tilting to the top of the circle you made or to the bottom of the circle you made. You're neither scooping your sit bones up or dropping your sit bones down. Try and find an even line in the pelvis. And then adjust your chest slightly so that your ribs start to lay a little flatter toward the abdomen. And if your head falls back at all now, if the chin lifted in doing that, then just bring a block behind your head so that it levels your chin and your forehead. You've got the 1-inch block or the 2-inch block. And in this next set of movements, you might find the head starts to creep back. So it'd be a good idea maybe just to put the 1-inch block under. You pick one up. Good. And then keep the ribs laying flat there. Take your arms down by your side. Going to take your right arm back and leave it down by your side. Pause there. So at the moment, the left arm, if we were on a clock, the left arm might be pointed to 3 o'clock and your back arm might be pointing to 9 o'clock. I'd like you to lift them so that they're pointed to 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So they're just off the ground slightly, if that makes sense. Yep, so that's your stop point, 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. You inhale as you switch your arms one way to 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And you exhale as you switch your arms the other way to 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Inhale as you switch one way. And exhale, switch the other way. As you're doing this, you're not letting your arm reach all the way back down to the ground. So if you find you're going to 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, even if you can, I want you just to stop at 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So you can really focus on keeping the alignment between your pelvis and your ribs. And you want to feel the muscles that connect your pelvis and ribs like a cylindrical tube wrapped around, engaging. Is your bottom on the floor, Ali? Your bottom on the floor? Yeah, bottom. Okay, so next time your right arm comes down, I'd like you to lift your right leg into a knee fold. And when your right arm goes back, tap your right foot to the floor. Keep going with your right leg like that. So as the arm comes down, your leg lifts. And as the arm goes back, your foot taps the floor. Good, and keep going like that, just keeping steady in your movements and just trying to keep the equal sides of the waist and evenness of the left and right ribs laying level in your abdomen. And as your arm and your knee go further away from each other, use the side muscles of your body to stop your waist lengthening. Okay, when your right foot lands on the floor, leave it there and just keep going with your arms. Inhaling, switching one way. Exhaling, switching the other way. And then the next time your left arm goes down by your side, lift the left leg. Inhale as the left arm goes back, left foot taps the floor. Exhale as your arm and leg come back to center. Inhale as your left arm goes back, left foot taps the floor, and exhale back to center. Have your arms moving nice and light. And by having our head on the block, it's going to keep you softer in the neck and shoulders. Move from your hip joint. Both arms are moving. Move from your hip joint. So the thigh bone is moving. And then this next time when your left foot goes to the floor, leave your left foot on the floor with your left arm by your left ear and your right arm down by your side. Then turn onto your left side with your, you can take the block out, turn onto your left side with your head resting on your left bicep and your right fist on the floor behind your waist. So your right arm was by your side, now you've got the fist on the floor behind your waist. Okay, and I'll just come around to that side of the room and give it the spring round. Good, legs are bent still. Yeah, so you're in this position with both legs bent. Yeah, the hand on the floor behind with the fist on the floor, Sandy, fist on the floor. There you go. Now press your waistline towards the forearm behind the small of your lower back. Your shoulder roll back slightly and lift the curve of your waist off the ground. Ali, can you take your hand off there and bring it round behind? Fist on the floor, make a fist. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. Then oyster, so open your top knee as you inhale and close your knee as you exhale. You're going to try and do that without feeling your back rolling any further against the arm. So your arm's almost acting like a wall behind you, stopping your pelvis from rolling back. Inhale, knee opens. Exhale, knee closes. So we're just gently strengthening the outer hip. But being mindful also of core muscles staying engaged to prevent the waist collapsing and to prevent the pelvis rolling back. We'll go about 5 more, keeping your feet together and keeping the top hip stacked on top of the bottom hip. And last one. Opening. When your leg is closed, good, then you take your arm from behind and take it straight up in the air. Keep your chest facing forward and then start to feel your arm in the air, just drawing a big circle on the ceiling. Okay, and as your arm circles on the ceiling, keep your chest facing forward, keep the curve of your waist lifted. You can start to increase the range of that circle, but keep your gaze and your chest facing forwards. So it's similar to chalk circles, except in chalk circles, we let the head turn and we let the spine rotate round. For this, I'd like you to try and keep the rest of your body fixed, so just the arm circling. So you're going around the range of movement you have in the shoulder only. And then change direction. So you might start off smaller if you want to. You can always go smaller again if you feel like you end up going too big. More in that direction. Just timing your own breath with your own arm circle. And then next time your arm comes up in line with the other arm, palm facing downwards, arms shoulder distance apart, so try not to rest your hands together. Keep them apart, there we go. Hands apart, Ali. There we go, that's it. And then start to straighten your legs down the mat. Keep your balance. Flex your toes up towards you. Push your legs longer and straighter. Lift the curve of your waist off the floor and find the balance point in your hip and shoulder. Lift the top leg first of all, about hip height, no higher. Just like you're standing, but lying on your side. Keep your feet flexed, and you might just lift that bottom leg a fraction off the ground. As you lift your leg, or legs, depending on whether you're just doing the top or the bottom as well, You want to feel like the legs are pulling up into your body. Yeah, so like you're almost connecting your legs more strongly into your pelvis, into your hips. Your arms are extended, but there's a softness downwards in your shoulders. Take a couple more breaths there. And then just rolling around onto your back, and you can just roll comfortably. The floor will be there for you. As you roll onto your back, bend your legs so your feet are on it. At the moment, your arms are over behind you. Once you've got your feet on the floor, reposition your pelvis so it's in line with your rib cage and bring your arms straight up to the ceiling. And again, you can take that block and pop it behind your head, the 1 inch or the 2 inch. Soften your shoulders. Inhale, and as you exhale, mindfully position your pelvis and your rib cage so that they align with each other and your corset muscles engage. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift the left leg into a knee fold. Let's start with the left leg this week. Okay, and keeping your left leg there, like someone's pressing on the top of your knee, so you feel the leg grounding more into the hip joint and into your core. And then lift the second leg up from the stability of your first leg. Tap your right foot to the floor as the right arm goes back and the left arm comes down. And then switch the leg as you switch the arms. And then we're keeping going like that. So your right arm and leg extend away, and then your left arm and leg extend away. You've still got a bent knee, so you're just moving from the hip joint, keeping your knee angle at 90 degrees. If this feels too much, then you can start with your feet on the floor and lift from the floor. So if you're doing the floor, are you all right lifting that leg? Okay. How about then, instead of lifting it, just on the opposite one, imagine you're lifting the leg. So you're engaging the muscles that would lift it without the strain of having to lift it. Yeah. Okay. Notice if the back arches. Notice if the ribs start to flare. And if they do, maybe just do your arms with the legs in the double knee fold. Or just do your legs with your arms pointing to the ceiling. Do another each side. And then keep your arms pointing to the ceiling. Lower your left foot to the floor first, like someone's pressing on the top of your right knee to stabilize you. And then lower your right foot to follow. Take your right arm up by your right ear, your left arm down by your side. Take the block out from behind your head and roll onto your right side with your head resting on your right bicep and the left hand on the floor behind. Make a fist with your left hand so that the small of your lower back and the back of your waist press slightly against your arm, the tailbone tucks slightly. Good, and then oyster on your other side. Inhale as the knee lifts. Exhale as the knee lowers. So the arm behind is there to continue to feel like you're just gently pressing against, but also to check that you're not rolling back with the hip and with the top side of your waist. Inhaling as you open and exhale as you close. Opening to a point where you feel there is a little resistance in the outer hip. And meeting that resistance without having to roll the pelvis. Just meeting it to know that that's the muscle reaching their maximum point, or the ball and socket reaching its maximum point, and then you close back down again. Inhale, open, exhale, close. 5 more. Making sure that the waist hasn't dropped, the back hasn't started to overarch or slump. 2. And 1. When your knees come together, take your arm from behind you, take it straight up in the air, and start with a circle that's, and you know you can do easily, and then you can gradually increase the size of that circle. Think of drawing the circle on the ceiling and following round as far as you're able to without your hips turning. So the knees will stay together, the hips will stay stacked, your shoulders will stay stacked, your nose and chest and belly button stay facing forwards. Then you can change direction slowly and go smaller if you need to, because sometimes one direction is easier than the other. And always build them up. Feel like it's a little explore around your shoulder joints. One more in that direction. So you finish the circle off when your arm is extended overhead. So your arms are parallel, palms face each other, softening down your shoulders. Slowly start to straighten your legs. You're not stretching your legs, you're just straightening them out. Toes pull up towards you. Lift the curve of your waist, find your balance points on the side of your body, and then think about the top leg lifting first. You want to feel like that top leg draws into your hip, and the same with the bottom leg. If you're lifting the bottom leg as well, you want to feel it pull up and connect into your core. So both legs now feel like they've got the weight of your body standing on them, like they would if you were stood upright. The arms are reaching, the legs are reaching, but they're also pulling in and connecting into the center. The breath there, the ribs are staying contained, the lower back staying long. And then you know the floor is going to be behind you, so you can just roll over onto your back. When you land on your back, make any adjustments you need to once you've landed. Once you've got your head, rib cage and pelvis in line with each other, take your arms back up in the air. Reach your right arm toward the ceiling so the shoulder lifts. And then lower it back down so the shoulder lands fully. Keep the shoulder landed. Lift the left arm so the shoulder lifts. And then lower the left arm back down so the shoulder lands fully. Interlace your fingers together and point your index fingers straight up. Bring your inner legs to touch, inner knees, inner ankles touching, and keep the back of your shoulders anchored to the ground. As both knees go toward the right, and the left hip and the left foot will lift off the ground. And then use your abdominal muscles to pull back into center so the pelvis lands in the center. Then you take the knees to the left, so the right hip and the right foot will lift. Exhale as you draw back into center, so your core muscles become like a pull cord, grounding you back in. Inhale side, exhale center. Inner feet staying connected, so you just end up turning on the outer edge of the foot that you're tilting towards. So can you go to a point where the opposite shoulder stays grounded? And then use the side muscles of your waist to pull you back across. A slight hollowing in of your belly each time you come back to center. Okay, and then when you're back to center on this next one, keep the fingers interlaced and bring them around the back of your head. Elbows in line with the tip of your nose, inhale. Exhale, abdominal curl, so it feels like the chest is trying to look towards your knees. The front ribs will drop down toward the waist a bit more. Inhale as you lower. Exhale, think of your ribs moving down towards your pelvis. Inhale, lower. Try not to think of pushing your lower back to the floor, rather sliding your ribs down to the front of the pelvis. Inhale as you lower. Exhale, sliding front ribs down toward the front of your pelvis. Inhale, lower. So you're not relying on tilting the pelvis or pushing your lower back firm into the floor. You're thinking about closing the gap between front ribs and pelvis. Okay, Liz, hands behind your head, abdominal curl. Okay. Couple more. What you were doing was beneficial as well. What you were doing was beneficial as well. Okay, when you come back to the center, take your arms out wide. Lift your right leg into a knee fold. Imagine someone pressing on the top of the knee, grounding it into the core, and then lift the second leg up, double knee fold. Okay, so you're going to use your arms as stabilizers, pressed into the ground, taking your knees toward the right, rolling onto the outer edge of your right hip, and then using your core muscles to pull back into center and ground the back of your pelvis. Inhale to the left, and exhale back to center, keeping your arms and shoulders on the floor. When you go to the side, also use the outside knee to help press the inside leg back in. So your outside leg or outside knee pressing on the inside leg, the inside knee. Inhale side, exhale center. If it feels too much, you can always go back to the feet on the floor version and rotate from there. We'll just do one more each way. Think of the opposite arm staying long and grounded. Last to the left. And then when you're back into center after that last left one, keep the legs there. If you need a rest, then you take the feet down one at a time. Hands behind your head. Keep the elbows wide as you curl your chest up, feeling the ribs move down towards the lower abdomen. Okay, and as you hold it here, tap your right foot to the floor, lift back up. Tap your left foot to the floor, lift back up. And when your thigh bone moves away, feel like there's a force in your abdomen that's almost trying to pull your thigh towards you. So as the thigh bone moves away, feel an opposite force in the abdomen, like you're trying to limit how much that thigh bone can move away. So there's an away motion and a pulling in motion. Do another on each leg. With the left, take your arms down by your side, hold on to the back of your legs, press your thighs into your hands, and use that motion to roll up. And if you can't use that motion to roll up, then instead you take your feet down, arm by your ear, and roll to your side. Okay, and bring the soles of your feet together, opening your knees. See if these shorts are decent. I tuck them in. You all right? Fingers out to the sides, and just give your knees a little flutter first of all. Just lightly, nothing too forcing. And then as your knees come in, straighten out your left leg, cross your right leg over, and then wrap your left arm around your right leg. So think of 3 tall points. Your left foot sitting tall, your right knee drawing in tall, and the top of your head lifting tall. So your spine. Gaze over the back shoulder the best you can. And then come back into center. Straighten that leg out, put your hands by the side. Push the ground back, lift your chest up. Sit nice and tall, and then from your tall position, see if you can just move your waistline forwards toward the thighs, gazing towards your feet. We're not trying to pull the gaze to the feet, we're trying to move the waistline toward the thighs. Come back up, bend your right leg, left leg in, and then wrap your right arm around the left leg. As you get into a loose twist, first of all, then refine. So your right leg gets straighter, the toes pull up more. Your left leg draws in more and the knee becomes taller, more central. And your spine lifts taller as if it's pushing up to the crown of your head. Your gaze may be a little further around your shoulder. Then you come back to center, straightening your left leg out, hands behind again, pushing the ground down to wriggle your waist long. That might be as far as you go. Just long in your waist is fine. You might feel that already pulling on the back of the legs. If not, then start to bend the waistline forwards towards your thighs. Keep your toes nice and sparkly, open, lifting towards you. Shoulders are slightly rolling back. And again, try not to go for the toes with your chin and your nose. Almost draw your chin and your nose in a little. Move from the waist. And then come back up. Swing your legs round, come onto hands and knees. Spread out your fingers. So exactly what we did when we were on our back, circling your pelvis round. Now that you've not got the floor on your pelvis, or your pelvis on the floor, either way, you've got more freedom, more range of movement, so bigger circles maybe. Just watch out for your head hanging to the ground. Even though we're not necessarily moving the head much here, try not to just let it be forgotten about. The back of your head, so you're preventing it from lowering any lower than your back. Circle the other direction. Feel that nice loosening off in your hip, pelvis, lower back. And then that tilting action that we followed with, we'll do here. As your pelvis tilts up, this time add the head, tilting your head up. So you're moving through cat-cow. And as your pelvis tilts down, your head drops down. Inhaling as they point upwards. And exhaling as they point downwards. Imagine a beam of light coming out your sit bones and the top of your head. Want the beams of light to point up, and then the beams of light to shine down as well. Just one more of those. And then when you next come to a neutral spine, pause and lower to your forearms, Sphinx position, so legs all the way back. We'll take Sphinx to level 1 plank, level 2 plank, and level 3 plank for those who choose to. Starting down on your forearms with your elbows about in line with your armpits. Hands spread, thumbs pointing to each other. Have your arms so that they're parallel rather than hands touching. And push more firmly down through your forearms so you can draw your upper arm bones back slightly, shoulders back. Level 1 plank. Push into the top of your thighs and your pubic bone and just feel you're skimming the ground with your tummy. So pulling your tummy away from the ground rather than letting it fall onto the ground. You want your gaze to be between your hands. Level 1 plank is here. All it's done is it's taken us out of the dip of Sphinx into a lengthened spine. Okay, level 2 plank. You lift the top of your thighs off the ground so that you're on the knees or just above the kneecaps. You want to think of closing your ribs in slightly, keeping the spine long like it would be if you were lying on your back. Level 2 plank is here. You can stay with that, still with the arm bones drawing back so the neck is long. Level 3 plank, you tuck your toes under, and as your knees straighten, you'll feel your thighs and your hips lift another inch or two, and that's about all. Keep your gaze between the hands, and we'll hold for another 5 reps, level 1, 2, or 3. 4. As your forearms push to the ground, the sides of your chest lift. 3. Again, you're using the tummy muscles the same in 1, 2, or 3. 3. This is breaths now. 2. 1. I'm a slow breather. Lower down. Rest your head on your hands. Bend your legs. Feet, knees wide, and rock your feet side to side, or rock your legs side to side. And then let's just go for a little bit of swimming while we're on our tummy. So legs extend out, bringing them to hip distance apart. Feet are pointed. Arms extend forwards, a bit wider than shoulder distance apart. Forehead to the ground. Be long, but at the same time, feel your arms engaging down into the shoulders and your legs engaging up into the hips. Narrowing the waistline as you engage. Inhale. Exhale, lift opposite arm and opposite leg off the ground. Inhale as they lower. Keep your head on the floor for now. Exhale, lift the other arm and leg. Inhale, lower. See if you can lift the leg with length more than height. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Now lift your head so your ear line follows the arm line. Up and then back down. So ear just following alongside the bicep as you lift and alongside the bicep as you lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. If it's too much to lift the head, then you just keep your head on the floor. Opposite arm, opposite leg. we're looking to make that lift without rotating. So if you feel you're rotating, then lose the lift and just do the arm and leg on the ground without the limb. One more each side. And once you've lowered from there, bring your hands down, push back to child's pose, bottom back to the heels, arms out in front to begin. So you can use your hands out in front of you to try and push your hips further back to the heels. And then bring your arms, so either making a pillow for your head to rest on under your arms, or your arms down by your side if your head can rest comfortably on the floor. Still keeping the hips back. Take a couple of nice deep breaths into your back, between your shoulder blades. Then into your mid back. And the lower ribs. And then into your lower back, so it's almost like your belly breathing. Place your hands by your legs and straighten your legs. Standing forward bend, dangle. Let your head be loose and just take a very gentle, effortless head turn. Looking left, looking right, but maybe with your eyes closed. Has anyone mastered the art of looking with the eyes closed? Now's your time to practice. Okay, and then head back to center. You want to feel the pelvis pushing down through the legs, instigating a roll up. As you roll up, roll your shoulders back. Do a little balance standing before we come down to floor again. Stay with that theme of the arms lifting. So if you take your right arm up, and this time we'll take it to 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So it's 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock really, isn't it here? And then switch. So one arm comes up, one arm comes down. Okay, and as you do that, because we've got nothing to balance against, it might be that you end up feeling like your back moves or your hips move. See if you can really keep the back of your shoulders and the back of your hips as steady as you can, as if you were standing against a wall. Okay, or like when you were lying on the floor, the ribs stay laying in line with your waist. Okay, now we're going to lift the opposite knee. So when your arm comes down, the knee lifts, pushing through the ball of the foot, and then switch so the other knee lifts, pushing through the ball of the foot. So the heel that goes down is the arm that's coming up. The heel that goes down is the arm that's coming up. Do one more each side. Okay, and then keeping the right heel down and the left knee lifted, and pause there. Okay, now hug your belly in. So right heel is down, left heel is lifted, right heel is down, left heel is lifted. That's it. Good. Now you're going to see if you can just hover that knee a little higher, a little higher. And then take your right hand to touch the knee and turn, holding the knee toward the left a little. You're doing a little standing twist. And then your left arm can just float around behind. Switch your arms over, Sue. Switch your arms over, Sue. So right hand to the knee, left arm behind. Right hand to the knee, left arm behind. That's your left. Yes, Sue. Yeah. No, your leg was fine. There we go. And place your foot down, arms down. So lifting the right heel, lifting the left arm. Okay. Lifting the right heel. Good. And then lift the right knee up. See if you can balance. Like if I'm pushing forwards on the knee so it connects into your core. The left hand holding your knee as you twist round to the right. Try floating your right arm out behind. Keep standing tall, pressing straight through your standing leg. Come back to center, arms come down. Okay, and then take your feet a little wider than your hips. Okay, and then just start to shake your body out loosely. And then imagine you're on a trampoline, but you're not jumping, you're just bending your knees like there's a bounciness, a buoyancy in the floor, traveling through your body. Let it travel into your hips, your spine, your shoulders, loosen your arms. And then with a little hip swing, little bouncy hip swing, just testing your dance skills. Who am I going to invite to my party? All of you. Okay, and then come down onto your back. Little squeeze into your chest once you're down. Feet on the floor, take 1 or 2 of the blocks under your bottom, and then take a full body stretch with your hips elevated up on 1 or 2 blocks. So you're doing a full body stretch with a slight elevation of the hips. And then relax. So less of a stretch and more of a drape. Your elbows will probably bend a little bit. Your feet or your legs will probably flop a bit. Now let your belly fall more as you exhale. And just when you feel like you've let your belly fall as much as it's going to, give it another couple of seconds. Bending your legs in again and taking the block out from underneath. When your bottom comes back down to the floor, 1 hand each knee, circle your knees apart and together. And then the other way. Straighten your legs down the mat, a bit wider than your hips. Relax your arms a bit wider than your mat. Palms to the ceiling. If you need the block behind your head, put the block behind your head, slight tuck of the chin. Relax your neck and the weight of your head. Exhale your body heavy to the ground. Breathe easy. And again, just give yourself an extra second or 2 at the end of each exhale as an opportunity to drop a little deeper. Another slow, deep breath like that, letting everything go as you exhale. Being weightless in the pause of the breath, completely empty, without strain. Like everything inside suddenly undoes from tension, doing any knots, any stress. The breath flow without even noticing it now. Just present in being. Wiggle your fingers and your toes a little. Slide your feet in flat to the floor. Let's all bring our left arm up by the left ear. Roll over onto your left side. And push into your hands and roll your way around to sitting. Lovely. Thank you very much, everyone. Well done. Thank you. Have a beautiful evening. Didn't want you to get too hot tonight, so nice and slow.